Hello, horror fans, and welcome to the Script to Screen podcast, where we delve into the spine tingling world of horror cinema. Each week, we look at the scariest scenes, unmask the deeper meanings behind your favourite horror films, and explore the psychology of fear that keeps us coming back for more.
From script analysis to scene breakdowns, we're going to be dissecting your favorite horror movies to see just what makes them tick. So, whether you're a seasoned horror aficionado or just starting to explore the genre, join us as we unravel the spine tingling stories that haunt the silver screen.
I'm Will.
And I'm Lee.
And as always, Lee, it's great to be back. Hope you're well. How have you been?
Not too bad, not too bad. I mean, this week, obviously, we lost the horror legend in icon Tony Todd. So I
Absolutely.
spent the weekend revisiting what many believe to be his greatest role in the undisputed classic, which is Candyman and its sequels.
It's such a loss, isn't it? So, obviously, for those who may be a little confused, we recorded our opening salvo of episodes in advance of our launch. And Mr. Todd, he sadly passed away on November 6th, 2024.
Yeah, I mean, there are so few genuine icons in horror cinema, but Tony Todd, he was on the podium for sure. I mean, the Mount Rushmore of horror characters, and I guarantee you we will be covering Candyman at some point in the future.
Yeah, no doubt. So, yeah, rest in peace, Mr. Todd. And as Lee said, we'll definitely be covering Candyman at some point in the future. We'll be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, man. But, just sucks, man. Just sucks. Anyway, how about you, brother? What you been watching? Anything good?
Yeah, so I've been a little bit stacked, like busy wise lately. So I haven't maybe watched as many things as I probably would normally like to, but I did catch JSA, so Joint Security Area. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I have heard of
Um,
it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
it's cool, man. I think you'd like it. It's like a Korean film. It's a thriller by Park Chan-wook,
Oh
and
yeah, I know that. I know him.
yeah, so you probably know Old Boy,
Hmm.
Lady Vengeance, Stoker, Decision to Leave was fairly recent. So it's yeah, it's a film basically set in the sort of border area between North and South Korea, and it's just a really tough. It's a bit of a badass movie, Lee. I think you quite like it. So yeah, I'd suggest that to give that a go.
Nice, nice. He did was it Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance as well?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's
'Cause it was
part
like a
of a
trilogy,
Vengeance
wasn't it?
trilogy. Yeah,
Vengeance
yeah, yeah.
trilogy. I haven't seen that one, but I've seen Old Boy and Lady Vengeance, and they're both quality films.
Yeah,
Quality.
thrilling
Okay,
stuff.
so what's up for dissection this week? What are we looking at?
Well, Lee, this week we are looking at the comedy horror joyride that is The Babysitter. So, released in 2017, despite being filmed 2 years earlier, The Babysitter was originally intended for theatrical release before being swooped up by Netflix.
We're going to be comparing the movie to the original screenplay, written by Brian Duffield and weighing in a lean and mean 93 pages.
Yeah, so Brian Duffield, now that's a name that you've mentioned before, Lee.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, Duffield is one of my favorite writers, active writers in the business today. I think his idea generation, his willingness to break screenwriting conventions, it means that his scripts are always like both really clever and really engaging on a level that, to be honest, I've not seen since like the early days of Shane Black.
So, high praise there from Lee for Mr. Duffield. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the furthest we are ever going to go into comedy. So if you don't enjoy this script, I think I'll eat my hockey mask.
The stakes are high, Lee. Okay, folks, so let's take a deep dive into The Babysitter. After staying up late one night, Cole discovers that his beloved babysitter Bee is leading a satanic cult that conducts human sacrifices. As the cult's plans spiral out of control, Cole must outsmart Bee and her bloodthirsty crew to survive the night. So we meet 12-year-old Cole in the school nurse's office. It's a time for his shots, but the young man is clearly terrified of needles. Cole is played by the excellent Judah Lewis, most recently seen in the Lovecraftian tale Suitable Flesh. After some cajoling, though, Cole faces the inevitable. I'm not scared, he insists. Cue off-screen scream.
Yeah, the script is a little less colorful on the dialogue here. I get the feeling that a lot of this was probably improvised by or written specifically for Carl McDowell.
Carl McDowell, of course, plays the nurse in the scene, but you may well recognize him from one of his many roles, most likely as TTD from Ballers.
Yeah, in the script, the nurse has no character description at all, apart from the fact that it's a woman.
In the very next scene, a clearly distraught Cole nurses his arm, only to be struck in the head by a basketball and labeled a pussy.
In the script, he's hiding in a bathroom stall where someone bangs on the door and offers the same insult. We also get the script sin of a deliberately drawn out word.
Go on, spell it out.
It's PU, four S's, one A, four Y's.
Yeah. To be fair, the actor nailed it. The the pronunciation of this is perfectly. So, what do you think? Do you think this is warranted?
Oh, man, Duffield doesn't give a shit, so neither do I.
Yeah, I heartily approve. So we catch up with Cole after school as he waits for the bus alongside his neighbour Melanie.
Melanie is described in the script as, and I quote, definitely not a potential love interest for Cole. So whoever told you that is an idiot and a liar and a loser.
I'm starting to see where you're coming from with the Shane Black comparisons here, Lee. So Cole and Melanie shoot the breeze until her annoying dad arrives in his loud, obnoxious muscle car, which incidentally sums him up absolutely perfectly.
Does, doesn't it? It really does. I mean, in the script, he drives a kitted out SUV, but I think this is much better.
So, refused a ride by Melanie's annoying dad, Cole is forced to walk home, as it seems the American school bus program is somewhat unreliable. Unfortunately, Cole is quickly waylaid by a group of kids on bikes and their antagonistic leader, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know we always talk about character introductions at the end, usually, and I'm saving my favorite for that. But Duffield kind of nails each one so well. I'm probably going to drop a ton of them in, including this little gem. Jeremy is the leader. He's 14, so he's cool as shit. Don't even worry about his friends' names. They're not important because they are not Jeremy.
It's so good. It's so funny, isn't it? So Jeremy immediately starts on Cole, bragging about how he hooked up with sophomore Shelley McIntyre, which Cole finds somewhat doubtful. At this point, Jeremy starts shoving Cole around, Lee.
Yeah, this is mostly as written. We get some excess dialogue trimmed out, but nothing important.
So it turns out this was a big mistake for Jeremy as Cole's babysitter slash crush slash love of his life, B, arrives on the scene.
In the script, she is simply referred to as the girl until Cole introduces her by name a page later.
Yeah, and it's a really great character moment. So check this out. From the ground, Cole stares up as the girl blocks out the sun for a moment as she squares off with Jeremy, staring down at his pimply little face. The girl. Did you just touch Cole? Jeremy, acting tough, scared though. What if I did? She turns him around real fast, reading his sewn name tag on his backpack. She's maybe a full foot taller than Jeremy. The girl. Jeremy, check it out. The girl raises up her keys and starts flicking through them. The girl continued. You so much as think about Cole again, I will. She leans in and whispers for a very long time to Jeremy. His expression goes from cocky to nervous to terrified. The girl continued out loud. And then I'm going to burn your house down. Cool? With a pointy key, she stabs his bike tire, popping it.
I love the fact that we are almost seeing her through Cole's eyes. And in those eyes, she is literally blocking out the sun for a moment here. And some of this dialogue is missing from the script, but it's all pretty superfluous. There's nothing major.
So Carl, bless him, he's clearly infatuated, and to be fair, who wouldn't be in his situation? B also advises him how to handle bullies in the future with a good kick in the dick, Lee.
Sage advice, some foreshadowing for later.
B, of course, is played by modern day Scream Queen Samara Weaving. So she's the star of Ready or Not, Scream 6, Ash and the Evil Dead, and is the niece of Hugo Weaving as well, just for your information there. So B drives Cole home, and we get some cute dialogue between the two, which nicely zeroes in on the bond they share.
Yeah, again, some dialogue is cut, but the scene remains unchanged.
So Cole arrives home and he locates his mum in the crawl space under the house, and they have a great conversation where Cole seeks some assurance that he's not, in fact, a pussy.
She really doesn't do a great job of reassuring him here. And can I just say that if I had that many tarantulas, or even a single freaking tarantula living beneath my house, it would be a smoldering ruin by now. There are a few dialogue changes, nothing major, but I prefer what's on film here as I think it just flows better.
So we are then introduced to Cole's dad, who offers his son some reassurance during an unsuccessful driving lesson. He tells Cole that it's okay to be afraid sometimes.
Yeah, and while the outcome is the same, the scene plays out a little differently in the script. Cole is able to start the car and drive a little bit while asking his dad if he and his mum are going to get a divorce.
Oh, bless him. So Cole checks in with his parents before bed. Dad is watching Mad Men and his mum is working. After being told to clean up his toys, Cole leaves one auspicious looking car at the top of the stairs, possible foreshadowing them, he thinks. He then retires to bed, binges the entirety of Mad Men, and is seemingly quite unimpressed.
The part about cleaning up his toys is not in the script at all.
The next morning before school, Cole is attempting some adjustment to his remote control car using a rather large kitchen knife. His dad is somewhat alarmed and confiscates the knife to the dishwasher.
You can kind of see why this kid is such a wuss, right? I mean, his parents obviously adore him, but he is shielded from everything. Also, Cole mentions the aerodynamics of the car should enable him to hit a perfect barrel roll.
Sounds like a double dose of foreshadowing to me there, Lee. So on the bus to school, Cole and Melanie talk about sex, and she insists that B is using his place to hook up with boys after he goes to sleep. Cole is appalled by this idea, quite rightly so, and vows to stay up late and learn exactly what B gets up to after dark. Later, he watches forlornly as B hangs out with a nerdy-looking guy. They seem pretty cozy. Then he takes a football to the face.
Pussy! In the script, there's no football in the face, and we learn that when threatening Jeremy earlier, B told him she would in fact slit his mother's throat and force feed him her spleen.
Nice. Real nice. We get a really interesting POV scene from Cole's perspective as his parents head out for the weekend and B arrives.
Again, some minor dialogue changes, but nothing important.
A mini montage follows of Cole and B living it up.
Yep, this is not in the script.
We then get a really cool kind of Pulp Fiction-esque debate about who B would choose for an intergalactic mission to save the galaxy. There's a nice little sci-fi super overlay as B lists her dream team, and of course it's Kirk, Picard, Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, Ripley, and a xenomorph egg.
It's a rough plan, but not without its merits, I guess. Also, this is the first time I've ever considered the gender of a face hugger.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
I mean, technically, B is right. They do kind of have dicks, yeah?
Not really. I mean, I think it is more of an egg delivery system.
Kind of like an ovipositor kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So, does a face hugger implant an egg or an embryo then?
You know what, Lee? I've got no idea about that, but I do think that this warrants further research.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it for when we do Alien.
I think that's a fabulous idea, Lee. Fabulous idea. So back to the film, and our dynamic duo are enjoying a garden screening of the 1971 classic Billy Jack.
In the script, it's just written as an R-rated movie.
Yeah, and that's good practice because you don't want to build a scene around a film you might not be able to get the rights to, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So Cole's imitation of Billy Jack's signature kick, we'll get a look in a little later. There's a nice moment between the two where Cole talks about his fear that his parents may get a divorce.
Yeah, I mean, I love this little moment, and you can totally see why Cole adores B so much. You know, she doesn't sugarcoat it or tell him everything's okay. She just kind of lays it out. You know, she says, "Oh, yeah," she hopes they don't get a divorce, but if they do, you know, he'll be okay. He's just got to learn to stand up for himself.
So B then teases him about totally not potential love interest Melanie, but it's getting late, so she offers to fix Cole a shot to help him sleep. Cole agrees, but only if she does one too. And while she's out of the room, he dumps his into a pot plant. Later, Cole conspires with Melanie on FaceTime before a final bedtime chat with B. There's a really sweet moment between the two where Cole opens up a little about his insecurities, and Lewis really nails it here, I think.
It's such a sweet moment. I mean, if you haven't been rooting for Cole already, you totally will be after this.
Sometime later, B's friends arrive, and Cole creeps out of his room to observe them from the upstairs balcony. They are sat in a circle playing a game of spin the bottle, which also serves as a nice way to quickly introduce the new characters.
In the script, each character gets a cool little intro as well.
There are 6 of them, including B. Max, the man, dreadlocks, football, Fast Five, Alison, Pixie, school paper, network, John the Baptist, preacher kid, white boy, chariots of fire, Sonia, Peppy, cheerleader, Beauty and the Beast, not the Disney one, the French one, you know, with, oh, never mind. And finally, Samuel, the nerd, doesn't fit in, especially with these guys, which is weird, considering Cole's pretty sure this is the guy B had her head resting on earlier. Upstream colour.
I like the way like each character has their own like favorite movies, so just kind of tagged on to the end just to tell you all about it. There's a few character changes from the screen. Max has transitioned into a stereotypical high school jock. Alison has become the cheerleader. John is now a black guy. Sonia is now a kind of edgy, artsy girl. And of course, there's a poor, nerdy Sam. And in the script, ominously, the floor has been covered in plastic wrap.
Yeah, I'd be suspicious, to say. So next up, it's Truth or Dare. And when the bottle lands on B, she's dared to kiss everyone in the room. And sure enough, she is more than up to the challenge. Cole is having the time of his life as he watches B make out with Alison for an age.
53 seconds. Not that I timed it or anything.
I tell you what, Lee, the lengths you go to for this podcast are admirable.
That's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
So it's Samuel's turn, and the poor kid is a little overwhelmed by everything, as you would be. B comforts him, and it's actually quite a tender moment. Lovely music as they share their first kiss, and then B stabs him in the skull.
What the fuck?
Our thoughts are literally superimposed on the screen as poor Samuel screams in terror.
I mean, page 32 of the script consists solely of the words "what the fuck" in massive, massive font.
Now, this is a really interesting writing choice, isn't it, Lee? Do you think it's worth sacrificing a whole page for that?
Well, I mean, we're sat here talking about it, aren't we?
This is true. This is true. I think when you read the script, it doesn't seem in the least bit out of place. So, you know, I'm all for it. B is clearly in charge as she directs her followers to collect poor Samuel's blood in goblets. John takes an Evil Dead style gusher right to the face.
There's some dialogue differences, but the scene is otherwise unchanged. Incidentally, end of Act 1 here, do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. So Cole is understandably a little disturbed, but somehow he keeps things quiet as the teenager murder cult wheel in some cases, one of which contains the Devil's Book.
Singular, as if B is to be believed, it is the only one in existence. Incidentally, Robbie Amell as Max is just cracking me up here as he's just like improvising with poor Samuel's fresh corpse.
So B tells everyone it's almost time for the next step of the ritual, the blood of the innocent from upstairs.
Yep, that's it for Cole. He understandably freaks the fuck out and scurries back to his room. Credit to him, though, the first thing he does is call the cops.
And I love the conversation with the 911 operator here. She tells him to stay hidden, and his movie-addled kid brain instantly goes to find a weapon. And she's telling him, no, don't do that, as he hangs up the phone.
Yeah, I mean, in the script, the 911 operator even calls back, and Cole tells her, "I found a knife," before hanging up again. And he also interacts with Melanie out of his window.
So no sooner has Cole donned his sneakers when he hears footsteps coming upstairs, he dives back into bed and pretends to be asleep. B and the murder cult let us know that Cole is basically a never-ending supply of grade A, pure innocent blood. All they need now is the needle.
As you may recall, Cole is absolutely batshit terrified of needles, and the script plays this up brilliantly.
She turns back to the others. B continued, "Do you have the needle?" Cole's eyes go wide the fuck open. Sonia, "Yep." She hands B a small box. B opens it and pulls out the container. And from the container, pulls out the holy fucking shit, it's a syringe. Cole is doing his very, very, very best not to have a full-blown panic attack and to keep pretending to be asleep. He tries not to tense up, but it's really fucking hard. He pets his head with a free hand. His eye closest to her is shut, but the other is freaking the hell out. It would leave his skull if it could. And then B plunges the syringe into his arm. Cole's teeth grit as hard as they can as he stops breathing. So somehow Cole manages to stay comatose long enough for the crew to take their bloody prize and leave, but B pauses at the door. She notes the open window.
In the script, they take 4 whole vials from poor Cole.
So with the Colt gone, Cole springs into action. He knots his bed sheets into a makeshift rope and ties them off his bed. It looks like he's going to make good his escape when he starts to get a little lightheaded. B watches from the shadows as he passes out, and Cole wakes up tied to a chair downstairs. B and the Colt stare him down.
Why is he shirtless?
Is Cole's first question in regards to the now shirtless Max.
It is a valid question.
It is, but B is more intent on feeding him a cookie to top up his blood sugar after he passed out.
Even now, she's still kind of looking out for him.
Maybe. Either way, B is not happy and wants to know why Cole is awake. Why didn't you drink the shot, Cole?
Why is he shirtless?
He's not letting that go, is he? All is not lost for Cole, however, and this literally made me laugh out loud reading the script. Pocket knife, bitches.
Exactly how it's written. Pocket knife, bitches. In the script over the next page, we are also treated to, he opens the knife, bitches, and he starts cutting them ropes, bitches.
Honestly, dude, reading the script, I was like laughing out loud, literally. Unfortunately, there is a mirror behind him, and everyone is painfully aware of his attempted escape plan. Thankfully, Cole is nothing if not smart, and he goes straight for plan B. He pretends he saw nothing before the Colt came to his room and was instead sneaking out to smoke pot. It's an unlikely gambit, but it seems like he might just pull it off, and we get a cracking bit of dialogue. B. Dude, how do we explain all of this to your parents? Cole, I won't say anything. You know me. I'm really good with secrets. I won't tell my parents that you were having an orgy and needed my blood to do it. The whole group burst out laughing. Even B can't help but smile. This really hurts, Cole. Alison, do you even know what an orgy is? Cole, I'm guessing it's something sad people do because they want other sad people to like them and they can forget for a few minutes how sad they are in general. The group don't respond at first. John the Baptist. That's actually a solid answer. They look at B. B. It was for a science project, okay? Cole. The orgy. B. The blood. An orgy is when a bunch of people all have sex together. We probably wouldn't need your blood for that.
Just a few name changes, as you can see, but otherwise it's spot on.
So just when it seems Cole has talked himself out of danger, the cops arrive and things kick off big time. So the cops kick in the door and Max dispatches one with a fire poker through the eyeball.
Ah, nice. Allison takes a GSW to the titty, and we are presented with the most untrigger happy cop in American history, as despite his partner's brutal murder and a bunch of hostile aggressors, he is not pulling that trigger for love nor money.
And it's his trigger discipline that proves his undoing as B sneaks up from behind and slits his throat, causing John to suffer another impromptu bloodbath. We get a cool moment that's not in the script as B forces Cole to reveal cop codes for the all clear.
Yeah, he tries to dupe them, but sadly B knows him too well, and for now at least, the cops are out of the picture.
Alison is not happy with the state of her mutilated mammary gland and loudly laments her position. B, however, is more annoyed than sympathetic and tells her they cannot call an ambulance because of the dead cops. Seems wise. Seeing his chance, though, Cole makes a break for it and sprints upstairs.
In the script, this happens in, you guessed it, slow motion, bitches.
John is the first to chase Cole up the stairs, and realizing he won't make it to safety in time, Cole doubles back and gives his pursuer a mighty shove, putting John on the back foot. He loses his footing on the toy car Cole neglected to pick up earlier.
Plant and payoff.
Man, John goes down hard here. If bouncing off the banister hadn't finished him off, then the trophy through the throat definitely did the trick.
I guess we should be keeping a scorecard here, shouldn't we? I mean, at the moment, including poor Samuel and the cops, it is Colt 3, Cole 1.
So our young hero makes it to his room and barricades the door as Max tries to batter his way inside. Cole dumps his makeshift sheet rope out the window and starts to climb down. He doesn't make it far as Max breaks into his room and starts to pull him up. Thankfully, the sheet tears before he can be grabbed and he hits the lawn hard.
Yeah, I mean, in the script, Cole actually lets go rather than waiting for the sheet to tear.
Yeah, interesting. So why the change, do you think?
I'm thinking they probably didn't want to make Cole too brave until like his big moment later in the script, maybe.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think they're saving up some of his courage pennies. So for the protagonist arc, maybe. But with Cole outside, he sprints for the garage.
It's not quite as clear on screen, but he opens the garage door before hiding under the car. And it's another cool scene, I think, that kind of highlights just how smart and resourceful this kid is.
Yeah. And with Max on the wrong trail, Cole emerges only to come face to face with Samuel's corpse. He holds it together though and takes a moment to scavenge for weapons. He finds a lighter, some bug spray, a blanket, a power drill, and a massive firework.
In the script, it goes like this: an old firework. He digs it out of a box carefully, holds it like a precious Indiana Jones artifact. Cole, hell yeah. In giant block letters and with a chorus of angels singing the words slam on the screen. Hell yeah.
It's a great moment. All that's missing is a Pulp Fiction style light from the toolbox.
Oh, that would have been pretty sweet, actually.
So Cole flees outside and uses the drill to unscrew the hatch to the crawl space.
Oh, you mean the unholy tarantula pit located beneath his house?
That is one. Yeah, the terrible tarantula pit. So Cole makes his way under the house and hides under his blanket. But it's not long before Sonia decides to check the place out. It's a wonderfully tense moment as she searches for him before finally giving it up. And if you're expecting her to be scared of spiders, guess again as she fusses a large tarantula crawling across the blanket just inches from Cole's face. Unfortunately for Cole, he bats the aforementioned arachnid away right onto a mousetrap, which alerts Sonia to his presence. Trapped, Cole has no choice but to fight, so he ignites the giant firework and fires it at Sonia. Sadly, it misses and partially buries itself in the soil.
Yeah, in the script, Cole attacks Sonya as she is leaving, which again I think makes him a little too brave, just a little too early.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I think these changes are generally all made to give Cole the opportunity to find his braveness later in the film.
Yeah.
Thankfully, abundant mousetraps slow Sonia enough for Cole to slip past and reattach the crawl space hatch, trapping her inside, but not for long. She takes a healthy dose of bug spray to the face before the firework goes off. The flammable chemicals and confined space result in one hell of a big bang, which sends Cole flying and roasts Sonia alive.
Nice. The script does a really good job of building the tension up here.
Exterior, crawl space, continuous. Cole quickly begins screwing the screws back on the fence. One screw. She's crawling towards him quickly. Two screws. Sonia. We're going to hang you upside down and watch your blood leak out your eye sockets. Three screws. Cole searches the ground for the fourth as Sonia is almost there. He finds it, screws it in as bang! She begins hitting the fence, pushing it, breaking it. He screws it all the way in, and Sonia continued. And then we're gonna. Cole, shut up.
It's a great technique here, used here. I mean, Duffield puts a ticking clock on the page. It's a really good method to use if you want to put immediate tension in your script. It's one I've used before, and it's beautifully executed here. Really well done.
Yeah, it really does work, doesn't it? And it's also like, I think it's in keeping with the general feel and pace of the script to this point, too, which is really skipping along, with short, snappy, kind of double space sentences. So, yeah, really good. But Cole has no time to rest as Max emerges from the trees, and he's impressed by Cole's murderous handiwork.
I think one of the reasons I like Max so much is kind of like B. He treats Cole like an adult and doesn't talk down to him. I mean, yeah, he's going to murder him, but at least he doesn't act like a complete dick about it, I guess.
Small mercies, I guess, right? So Cole takes off with Max in hot pursuit. He has no chance of outrunning the star quarterback, but in a moment of inspiration, B's words come back to him: drop like a bag of rocks and kick him in the dick. The plan looks like it might have worked, but unfortunately Cole's aim falls short and Max's man spuds remain unharmed.
Yeah, I mean, this whole encounter is over in about a minute in the script.
Yeah, interesting. So let's cover the move first, and then we'll take a look at what happens on the page.
Plan.
So Max hops up, grabs Cole by the throat, and proceeds to choke the life out of him. But he is distracted by the sound of someone egging the house. And it's Jeremy, the bully be sent packing earlier. And Max sees this as an opportunity for Cole to learn to stand up for himself and sends him off to confront the bully with some almost brotherly advice.
Yeah, I mean, if your brother were a psychotic murderer, that is. Although, to be fair, if that were the case, you probably wouldn't get bullied that much anyway, would you?
No, probably not. Cole stands up to Jeremy and threatens him with a Billy Jack signature kick.
Another nice callback from earlier.
He doesn't quite pull it off though, and Jeremy makes a fool out of him yet again, knocking him on his ass and then egging him for good measure.
Poor Cole, you really can't get a break here, can he?
Things get worse as Mac helps him up and offers him a little praise for at least trying to stand up for himself. He then admits he's only here because he likes killing people, leading Cole to sucker punch him in the face and take off. Cole makes it to his treehouse and kicks out the ladder to prevent any pursuit.
Yeah, we get a couple of nice shout outs from Max to both the Warriors and Friday the 13th as he stalks Cole from below. Incidentally, did you know that the iconic Friday the 13th riff is actually despite sounding like
I was not aware of that, Lee. No. So there's a great shot of Max scaling the rope behind Cole before vanishing into the branches.
I mean, imagine if they had completely ditched the comedic aspect of this film and gone full horror. I mean, this could have been a brutal movie.
So Max corners Cole in what remains of his treehouse. He seems almost reluctant to finish the kid off, though.
Yeah, he also seems a little too heavy for the treehouse floor.
Oh, yeah, the floor breaks. Cole and Max fall through, and Max's neck gets looped up in the rope, and it's a snap.
Crackle and pop.
Max's head is almost completely torn off. We even get some spinal cord for good measure.
Love a little spinal cord. So is Cole finally getting a break?
Not a chance. No sooner has he caught his breath when B opens fire on him with a shotgun, and once more he is running for the hills.
I don't know about Cole, but I could use a break. So let's take a look at how uneventful Max's death originally was in the script.
Max, did you just lock Sonia under there and spray the entire can of bug poison in her face? Cole, no. Max, I mean, I'm not even mad. That just seems so messed up. What was the loud banging sound? Cole, a firework. Max bursts out laughing. Max, oh shit, that's horrible. And then he pulls the knife out the back of his pants. By the way, still shirtless. Max continued. So you want like a head start? Cole's shoulders slump. Cole, come on man, you're the quarterback. Max, life's not fair, dude. Cole, you guys suck. Max, you just Auschwitzed our friend. Cole, what does that mean? Max, like the gas chambers from World War II. Haven't they taught you that shit yet? Cole chucks the bug spray at Max's face, clocking him dead in the forehead. Max continued, son of a bitch. And by the time he's done rubbing his head, Cole has already started sprinting towards the trees. Max grins and gives chase as if his college football career depended on it. It takes him barely 3 seconds to catch up to the 12-year-old. Cole knows he won't make it. He sees the trees coming. Here's Max right behind him. And when Max stretches out his free hand to grab Cole, Cole drops like a bag of rocks, wrapping his head in his arms and hitting the ground, so Max trips over his body hard, flying forward, sending Cole tumbling as Max hits a tree trunk face first. Cole stumbles to his feet and watches Max slide grossly down the tree with his face until he finally rolls over, revealing all the ways Max will never be photogenic ever again. Max groans lightly, missing teeth and swollen eyes and a smashed nose as Cole quietly picks up the knife. He stands over the quarterback, victorious. Cole, of course I know what Auschwitz was. I'm not retarded, you pussy. Your joke was in poor taste. He angrily kicks Max in the dick. Max groans. Cole waits a moment, and then just because tonight is such horse shit, kicks him in the dick again. And that's when a bullet rips out bark from the tree beside Cole.
Definitely prefer what we had on screen here. It definitely gives Robbie ML some time to shine and elevates Max just from being his bog standard teen psychopath, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So Cole takes off again, this time to Melanie's house. She opens the door and Cole barrels into her, knocking them both down. A quick recap later, Cole asks where her annoying dad is. Turns out he's out with a Protestant.
Love that line so much. That's so
Yeah.
clever.
There's no time to take a breather though, as B looms outside. Cole manages to maneuver Melanie to safety as B clomps around in search of them.
Yeah, in the script, it's not made clear who their stalker is, and they are stated to be making very soft footsteps, while B is literally stomping around on screen like an elephant. Kind of makes me wonder if she's purposely being loud so that Cole can avoid her.
Yeah, not sure. I mean, this could be because the audience kind of knows it's B. So in the film, there's no real need to utilize the tension, sort of increasing technique used by Duffield in the script. Don't know. Either way, Cole stashes Melanie in the bedroom where she gives him his first kiss. It's a beautiful moment. And with it, a major boost to his self esteem. Just because she's a psychopath doesn't mean women are evil.
Oh, I beg to differ, Melanie. I beg to differ.
Dude.
We'll talk sequel later. I have an angle here.
Oh, okay, okay. So, in a moment of heroism, Cole tries to lure the danger away from Melanie as he runs back to his house, only to find that B has done one hell of a cleanup job. There's no trace of any wrongdoing whatsoever.
Incidentally, Cole leaving to save Melanie, end of Act Two, do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree. It has a real sense of, he's got a real sense of purpose now. So, yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
that's right.
So Cole continues creeping through what is now the world's creakiest house. It sounds like he's bobbing up and down on a rusty seesaw. I think it's no wonder his mum and dad go for motel sex at the weekend.
Certainly makes sense. Before long, he comes across Alison's lifeless body. Cole checks for signs of life before moving off, but no sooner is he turned away, Alison's body is gone.
Classic horror scare, putting the audience in the know while keeping the protagonist in the dark. Guaranteed tension builder.
Cole locates the devil's book in the kitchen, but no sooner is he on it when Alison drags him to the ground and starts to pound his face in.
Cole fights her off with a flurry of rabbit punches to the boob, leading to a rather heated outburst.
Cole, what? You were trying to kill me? Alison, I wasn't trying to kill you by touching your dick. Alison is out for blood, but Cole has a flashback of inspiration. The kitchen knife. He goes to retrieve it from the dishwasher and it's gone. Turns out his mum put it back in the butcher block, handy for Alison to retrieve. Cole fumbles for a weapon, but all he can find is a measly gas lighter. It looks like Cole's time is finally up when, boom, Alison's head is pasted across his face thanks to a shotgun wielding bee.
Killer B strikes again. It's good to have them back together. I know it hasn't been long, but I think it's fair to say there's been a major shift in their relationship dynamic.
That may well be the understatement of the decade. Cole is justifiably a little pissed off, and when B is distracted, he grabs the devil's book and threatens to burn it. B is all in now. Cole has tipped the balance of power in his favor.
Especially when he ruins Mad Men for her.
Ouch.
But in all seriousness, this scene is a great little study in character dynamics and conflict. And B starts out with the upper hand, the shotgun, and when she relinquishes it, Cole uses the moment to snatch up the MacGuffin, i.e., the Devil's Book, which puts him in a position of power and allows him to interrogate B for information. All the while, B is trying to placate him while finding a way to tip the scales back in her favor.
All about the conflict, Lee. So B tells Cole about the power of the book and how she used to be small and scared just like him.
Yeah, she's trying to get him back on side now. She knows exactly what buttons to push, or at least she thinks she does.
There's really a great moment where Cole asks if he was the first kid she used, and B replies that he wasn't, but that she didn't use him, she chose him. And that's why she killed Allison and not him, because she chose him again, which is lovely. She's advancing on him and he's backing away. And it's a small detail, but it shows once again her trying to assert herself as the dominant one in the scene. She offers Cole a way out, a way they could be together and get everything they ever wanted.
And this is Cole's moment now. It's do or die. Will he make the right choice or be seduced by the dark side?
And it's got to be tough for Cole. Until an hour ago, B was the love of his life. I mean, what would you do, Lee?
If I was 12-year-old hormonal Cole, man, I'd be rocking out with being sacrificing teens up and down the country faster than you could blink.
And I think that's really healthy, Lee. I think that's good. Cole, however, makes the right choice and sets the book ablaze, distracting B long enough for him to escape out the front door.
Okay. I'm going to say something now that may make me sound a little weird, so heads up.
Oh, God.
Okay. Samara Weaving has, hands down, the best horror movie scream in the world.
Okay. That wasn't what I was expecting, Lee.
Seriously, like just replay that shit or check her out in Ready or Not, which incidentally, if you enjoy this movie, you will absolutely love. But her vocal range and pitch, decibels, pure duration, it is the greatest scream ever. It's like opera music.
It's how very serial killer of you to notice that, Lee.
I hear a lot of screams. Okay, let me rephrase that.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I watch a lot of horror movies, so as a byproduct of that, I hear a lot of screams.
Not so much in real life, then.
Not since I was put on that watch list.
Just keep digging, dude. Just keep digging. Any contenders for best male scream?
Justin Long, of course.
See, for me, it's Daniel Stern. Anyway, back to the movie, and Cole has not escaped. It's all part of his plan.
Slow motion again, bitches.
And Queen's We Are the Champions, rocking the soundtrack as Cole hauls ass across the street, starts up Melanie's annoying dad's car, and hits the throttle.
Remember when Cole was planning the perfect ramp jump with his remote control car?
Well, he hits it now.
Do a barrel roll, man.
He hits a perfect barrel roll straight into his own living room and smack bang straight into B. Cole emerges battered, bruised, but seemingly unharmed. The same cannot be said for B, who lies pinned beneath the car. They share a final moment as she asks Cole what his intergalactic dream team was.
Turns out it was Admiral Adama, Data, the Predator, and Cole and B.
Aww. There's a great moment where B says that she was the big bad all along. Cole replies that he loved her, but when he realized she was the big bad, he drove a car through her.
Because that's what heroes do. This conversation runs a little deeper than the script.
B. I guess that's true, but don't you get it yet? He looks down at her. B continued. You bring me on your trip because I'm beautiful, and I listen to you, and I make you think you're a unique snowflake, and I'm an adult, and we get to the big bad's lair, and suddenly you're confused because no one's there. Where is he, you ask me, turning around to see me smiling at you. Here I am, Cole, the big bad that you brought along for the ride, and that your parents paid to be your friend. Cole processes this. Cole, I loved you. For a split second, it seems to affect B, but then it vanishes. B, I don't care. Cole, yeah, I think you do. Sirens can be heard coming in the distance. Cole continued. I don't care about your dumb book, or your creepy statue, or your dead languages. I'm an adult, because when I realized you were the big bad and betrayed me and were just going to hurt other nice kids like Samuel and Melanie, I drove a stolen SUV through you. Well, things are pretty much wrapped up. We get some nice closure with Melanie, Jeremy, and Cole's parents, and Cole gets the last word. I don't need a babysitter anymore. I feel like we're getting an after credit scene here, Lee.
Yeah, you're bang on the money. An unlucky firefighter exploring the wreckage where he is taken out by a very angry, very alive bee.
And we're done.
Not so fast, my eager friend.
Did I miss another after credit scene?
In a sense. flip the last page of that script.
Okay. And now opening the scene from The Babysitter 2.
Ah, you want to talk about breaking the rules? How's tacking on the opening scene to the sequel at the end of your script?
Uh, I could honestly say I didn't see that coming, Lee. So they made a sequel.
Yes, they did, correct.
And is this the opening scene?
Sadly not. Duffield didn't write the sequel, which is probably why it wasn't a patch on the original. I mean, it was okay, but nothing special.
Did the original cast come back?
Yes, plus a young Jenna Ortega, but there's hardly any B in it, and the film suffers from it, I think. And also, spoiler alert, Melanie is totally evil. So, opening scene.
I feel I need to read this.
I concur.
Interior, the closet, night. It's totally dark and totally quiet. Totally, that is, except for the soft breathing. As your eyes get used to the darkness, you realize you are not alone in here. A little girl, Tammy, 10, is hiding here. She does her best not to make a peep. She peeks through the closet doors and sees the shape of someone searching the room, wielding a flashlight. Tammy holds her breath. As the person with the flashlight leaves the room, she exhales just a little, and the person charges back into the room. Flashlight in her eyes. The closet is pulled open as Tammy screams and, interior, the kitchen, morning. A teapot whistles as Mr. and Mrs. Morgan return home from their night away. Mr. Morgan, Tammy baby, we're Mrs. Morgan, screaming, "Oh my God!" She runs into the kitchen where Tammy is unconscious on a kitchen chair, tied up with a lot of rope. Voice, Mrs. Morgan and her husband freeze and slowly turn to see someone pouring themselves some tea. Voice continued. I'd get you some tea, but I'm actually pretty pissed off with you both, so... She turns around and faces them, revealing, of course, B. No tea for you. 5 minutes later, B sits beside the still sleeping Tammy while Mr. and Mrs. Morgan watch in terror. B slowly drinks the tea, puts it back on her plate. B. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. I don't drink tea. They continue staring at her in terror. B continued. I just like the idea of you guys walking home, a kettle going off, your little Reagan McNeil tied to a chair, and me drinking tea calmly. Mr. Morgan. Like Ronald Reagan? B nonchalantly throws the cup of tea across the room where it shatters. Mr. and Mrs. Morgan jump in their seats. B. But I'm not calm, David and Mallory, am I? They shake their heads as if they were 5 years old. B continued. I'm pretty far from calm. I am light years away from calm. Because I'm so sick of this shit. She points at them. B continued. You had one job. We agreed to this. In fact, what did I say when I sought you out? Mr. Morgan. Whisper. Nothing. B. Excuse me, David? Mr. Morgan. You said nothing. B. Why did I say nothing? Mr. Morgan. B. Because we sought you out and asked you to help. B sits back in her chair satisfied. B. Ding, ding, ding. So you can imagine how super annoying it is when the kid and I are hanging out, the kid goes to bed, I gotta do my thing, and she slams forward. B continued. You didn't tell her to take the pills I gave you. Mrs. Morgan. We did tell her. B. Well then you're a terrible parent, because now here you are, here I am, angry, and here's your daughter. Should I wake her up and be like, Mummy and Daddy signed you up for this so they could have our happier lives? Mr. Morgan. No. Mrs. Morgan. Please. B turns Tammy's head so she's facing her parents. B. Mummy, why don't you love me enough not to be completely happy in just mothering me? Why did you need to call this attractive, smart, dangerous girl and beg her to help you in ways I never could because I'm a real Regan McNeil? Mrs. Morgan answers by staring at her lap and crying. B sighs. B continued. You'll tell her it was a nightmare. You'll tell her that when she woke up screaming and me, being the concerned lady I am, called you and you rushed home. You'll have her write me a cute apology card and I'll write her a cute one back. I'll put $20 in it for a movie and popcorn, and you'll take her to something PG-13 so it's extra special. When she asks why I don't babysit anymore, you'll say I have a boyfriend and I'm too busy getting laid to babysit. That last part can be open to your own creative license. The rest cannot. B stands up. The Morgans stand up. Except for Tammy because she's tied up and asleep and a real Regan McNeil. B continued. I think you'll agree that our deal is off. No harm, no foul, and be thankful for that. They nod, like rebuked 5-year-olds. B continued. Groovy. You can pay me the money you owe me for babysitting your asswipe of a kid. B walks up to them. They flinch. B continued. She actually threw Beverly Cleary books at me. What the shit, guys? B stares Mr. and Mrs. Morgan down hard. It's terrifying. And then she smiles like everything is super. B, ciao. And she walks Chipper out of the house. When she closes the door, Mrs. Morgan breaks out into a sob. Mr. Morgan looks to the heavens in thanks. Tammy Morgan stirs awake, realizing she's tied up. Tammy, Dad? Mr. Morgan, you're having a nightmare. Close your eyes. Tammy, ah. Tammy scrunches her eyes closed, praying for the nightmare to end. It never will.
So, dude, what did you think?
Well, I think first impression was I really enjoyed reading the script, and I think it's and I enjoyed that more than watching the film. And I think that's quite odd for me. I generally find watching a film much more satisfying than reading a script. But Duffield has such an engaging kind of writing style, and he's really trying different things, so it makes for a really engaging read. I think this script. I thought the film was really fun. I definitely enjoyed the second half more, once it got going. But there was something just a little kind of lacking for me in the adaptation. And I think I was struggling to put my finger on it, Lee. And I think, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but I think I actually made the mistake, I think, this time of reading the script first before watching the film. And that just happened because of time. But I think when I watched the film, like it wasn't quite what I imagined, sort of tonally. And I sort of when I was reading this, I thought this is really similar to kind of Monster Squad. It has that kind of vibe. And it reminded me a bit of things like, maybe the Goonies or maybe a little bit sort of, I was expecting that kind of lighter sort of Fred Decker style, Richard Donner style kind of direction and sort of lighting, and for the whole thing to be a bit brighter. But this does kind of swerve into, quite dark, sort of cool, monotone, sort of horror vibe, in the second half. And there was just something tonally for me that didn't quite match what I had read in the script, but that's probably just a thing of me reading the script before I watched the film.
Yeah, I mean, I get that the script can be kind of viewed as somewhat immature at times, but I think it sets the tone of the movie really well. I mean, and you're right, Duffield's writing style is both easy on the eye and highly engaging.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a total blast to read this script, isn't it? So what was your scariest moment, Lee?
I think this is a film that's high on thrills and low on chills. Having said that, I think for me, the scene where Cole is in the treehouse and Max just kind of climbs up behind him and vanishes into the branches is probably the scariest moment for me. And also staying with Max, despite him sort of treating Cole with a small amount of decency and respect, he's also the one that comes closest to killing him a couple of times. I mean, there's something about watching a grown man throttle a kid that kind of brings me out of the otherwise constant humor. It's pretty dark, I think, at that moment.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. I mean, I thought there were a few like effective scares. So Samuel in the garage comes to mind. But the scariest things for me was the post-credit sequence. And sort of once you see that B isn't there and something's kind of coming, but it's delivered in a sort of really cool way with this kind of jump cut that crashes in on Samara Weaving and really cool sound design. So yeah, I think that was the bit that made me jump the most. How about the script itself, Lee? Were there any lessons that you learned or any favorite sort of character introductions? I know you mentioned that earlier.
Okay, so first off, hands down, I think the best character description comes just after we're introduced to B for the first time, and it reads like this. Now is a good time for you to know that as far as Cole is concerned, God made women and then God made B. She is a knockout senior who actually listens to him when he talks. She is better than Star Wars.
Better than Star Wars.
The best character description ever in just 4 words.
It's hard to argue with that, dude. It's hard to argue.
I know. I mean, as for the script itself, I don't want to just compare Duffield to Shane Black because I think they are totally different animals. But there are obvious similarities in the way they write. I think if Shane Black was Goku, Duffield would be like Super Saiyan Goku, you know?
Okay. You know what, Lee? I've literally no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. I'll put it another way. Yeah, we study auteur theory, right? And I think Duffield is, in my opinion, an auteur of screenwriting. He's not afraid to break the rules or toss the rules in a bin and set them on fire. You know, he just goes out of his way to make everything as engaging and as easy to read and as fun as possible. And what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the similarities between Duffield and Black, you know, in that they both write really sort of engaging scripts to read, which do a really great job of setting the tone for the films. There's also an irreverence, I think, to their writing, which I think is really quite similar. But I agree. I mean, I think Duffield is trying things and really sort of pushing boundaries, you know, for what a script can be as a document, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, so what have we learned from this script this week?
Well, I really took from this that in a certain context, and I think that context is when you're sort of trying to achieve a certain tone for the film, it can be really effective to include things which, you know, inform or frame that tone for the reader, you know, which aren't necessarily going to add anything to what's happening on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
I think so.
so in the script, for example, in the babysitter is full of little moments and sort of in jokes, which are speaking primarily to the reader. So, an example of this, which you know is a really small moment, but was where Duffield sort of writes something like, you know, he puts the pocket knife in his dot 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 pocket. Now that's just being playful with language, and it doesn't really kind of affect anything on the screen, you know, but it does a great job of making the document engaging and setting a tone which can then kind of feed into the film, you know, and I just love that, you know. I just thought it was so much fun. What about you?
Yeah. For me, I think it's not to be afraid of breaking the rules and just kind of going balls to the wall. We're definitely going to look at more Duffield scripts in the future, and I'm already pretty psyched for the next one. But one thing I've noticed in a couple of his scripts is he tends to have like one kind of break the rules page where he just throws everything out the window, and it's just you know how comic books have like a splash page where it's like a
Yeah.
big 2-page illustration that usually just like wows you. I think he kind of does like a splash page in the script. He likes to do something like that, you know, so that when you just turn that page, it's just like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, it's
You
like the
know?
what the fuck bit in the
Yeah,
script, isn't it? It's
exactly.
the whole
That's
page.
like the splash page for this script, you
Yeah.
know.
And it's interesting to see whether that makes it into the film somehow.
Hmm.
So in this
Yeah.
film, for example, you know, that came in as a title, right? That was a decision. I don't think
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
indicated to be a title, but
Hmm.
it was there and they
It just
used
came
it
up like
as a title.
superimposed on
Yeah.
the screen,
So
didn't
it'd be
it? Yeah.
interesting if in other scripts, you know, that he's written and way he's breaking the rules, whether that influences something in the film. But yeah, yeah. So man, I mean, look, really looking forward to the next sort of Duffield thing that we do. That will be
Nice.
loads of fun. So Lee, what's on the agenda for next time?
Well, it's a good one, a damn good one. Next week, we are going to be taking a deep dive into Lee Wannell's modern classic and the epitome of a franchise starter, the original Saw movie.
Yeesh. Not so sure. I'm looking forward to that. But if you enjoyed the podcast, please hit like and subscribe, and obviously go and sort of check out our socials. So until next time, do take care.
Keep on writing those scares, people.